In 1873, a member of the British Parliament named Sir Wallace Shirley gathered 12 men in a London meeting room and founded the Kennel Club. Their goal was simple: to improve dogs. In 150 years, they created over 400 breeds, and in the process, they accidentally built something the world had never seen: a population of animals systematically bred to be beautiful and systematically broken by it. This is the story of how humans took the most successful predator in history and, with the best intentions, nearly ruined it. Before 1873, dogs were defined by what they could do. A shepherd dog herded sheep, a hunting dog tracked prey, a guard dog protected livestock. These dogs were lean, functional, healthy. They looked different from region to region because they were shaped by their environment and their job, not by a judge's opinion of the ideal skull shape. The Victorians were obsessed with order, classification, and improvement. They catalogued plants, they catalogued minerals, they catalogued insects. And then they turned their attention to dogs. The first dog show was held in Newcastle in 1859. 60 dogs competed. By 1875, there were dog shows across England, drawing thousands of spectators. By 1880, the dog show had become a national institution, and this is where everything changed. Dog shows rewarded dogs for looking a certain way, for having the right skull proportions, the right leg length, the right ear shape, the right coat texture. For the first time in the 15,000-year relationship between dogs and humans, the primary goal of breeding was not function. It was appearance. The results were immediate, and they were stunning. Within 2 generations of selective breeding, dogs changed more than they had in the previous 1,000 years. New breeds appeared from nowhere. Old breeds became unrecognizable. The Bulldog is the most dramatic example. The original Bulldog was bred for bull baiting, a sport where dogs would grip a bull by the nose and hold on, while the bull tried to throw them. These were athletic, muscular animals, strong legs, functional jaws. They could breathe normally. Bull baiting was outlawed in 1835. The Bulldog breed nearly disappeared. Then Victorian breeders rescued it, and in rescuing it, they transformed it entirely. They wanted a companion dog. Cute, docile, distinctive. They bred for a flatter face, a pushed-in nose, a massive head, deep skin folds, a stocky, low body. They got exactly what they wanted. What they didn't anticipate was what came with it. The modern English Bulldog cannot breathe properly. The flattened face that breeders prized, called brachycephaly, means the nasal passages are too short, the airways too narrow. Most Bulldogs snore constantly. Many overheat easily. Some struggle to exercise for more than a few minutes. These dogs can only breed through artificial insemination because their heads are too large for natural birth. They deliver only by cesarean section. Norway has banned breeding British Bulldogs. The Netherlands has banned it too. The court ruling stated, essentially, that these dogs could never be considered healthy. Bulldogs are 30 times more likely to develop health conditions than other dog breeds. And Bulldogs are not the exception, they are the pattern. The court ruling stated, essentially, that these dogs could never be considered healthy. Dachshunds, bred for their long backs and short legs because they were used to follow badgers underground, now have a high rate of spinal disease. Their elongated spines were not designed for a long life in that configuration. And Bulldogs are not the exception, they are the pattern. And then there are Cavalier King Charles Spaniels. They were bred for an increasingly rounded skull shape because breeders decided it looked more refined, more aristocratic, more beautiful. More than 90% of them now develop syringomyelia, a condition where the skull is too small for the brain, forcing brain tissue to protrude through the base of the skull. Think about that sentence. A breeder decided a dog's skull should be rounder, and the result, generations later, is a dog whose brain doesn't fit inside its own head. This is not a small thing. This is not an isolated case. There are currently 396 inherited disorders identified across recognized dog breeds. 396 documented ways that selective breeding for appearance has introduced suffering into the dog population. The German Shepherd tells a different story. 100 years ago, they had straight, level backs built for endurance. Then breeders began selecting for a sloped back because it looked more powerful in the show ring. Today, many German Shepherds walk with their hindquarters visibly lower than their shoulders. Hip dysplasia rates have climbed for decades. The dog that built modern police and rescue work is now frequently in chronic pain by middle age. Here's the part of this story I find genuinely hard to sit with. None of this happened through cruelty. Nobody set out to harm dogs. The Victorians who founded the Kennel Club genuinely believed they were improving dogs. The breeders who shaped these animals were motivated by love of the breeds, by pride in their craft, by the desire to perfect something beautiful. And somehow, the road paved with those intentions led here. The Victorian era of breed formation stripped away roughly 35% of genetic diversity from the entire dog population. Most of it is gone permanently. It happened in less than 50 years faster than almost any genetic change in natural history, outside of a population collapse. 15,000 years of natural selection, 50 years of dog shows, and 35% of the diversity gone. Here's what I keep coming back to. 15,000 years ago, dogs and humans made a deal. Dogs offered their loyalty and their capability. Humans offered food and shelter. It worked because the deal was built around what dogs actually were: predators, with functional bodies shaped by thousands of years of natural selection. The Victorians didn't change the deal, they canceled it. They looked at those functional bodies and decided they could do better. Rounder heads, flatter face, shorter legs, more wrinkles, more extreme proportions. They weren't breeding dogs anymore, they were sculpting them. And the sculpture in many cases turned out to be beautiful on the outside and fragile on the inside. The most troubling part of this story is not what the Victorians did. It's what we're still doing. In 2025, French Bulldogs are the most popular breed in the United States. Pugs and English Bulldogs are consistently in the top 10. These are the breeds with the most documented, most severe, and most preventable health problems. And they are the breeds people are most actively choosing to buy. The demand drives the breeding. The breeding drives the suffering. And the suffering is invisible, because what we see is a flat face and big eyes, and something that looks, to the human brain, like a baby. Dogs don't know they were bred to look a certain way. They don't know their skull is too small, or their spine too long, or their airways too narrow. They just live in the body they were given. And here is the twist nobody talks about. The response to this problem has been to create more breeds. Labradoodles, golden doodles, designer crossbreeds marketed as healthier alternatives. Some are, some aren't. But the instinct to fix a breeding problem by breeding differently is the same instinct that created the problem in the first place. My dog is a mutt. I didn't know that when I got her. She has no idea what she is either. But her vet has never mentioned her skull shape, or her spinal proportions, or whether her brain fits inside her head. She just runs, and breathes, and is fine. 15,000 years of natural selection produced an animal that could do that without our help. The most successful thing humans ever did with dogs was leave most of that intact. Next week on How Pets Happened the Moment Humans Decided the Most Frightening Animal on Earth Needed to Become a Pet. That story is next week. If you have a dog, look at their face right now. If they can breathe without snoring, that's not a small thing. That's 15,000 years working as intended. Subscribe. New story every week. See you next time.